guys, welcome back to story time. As I'm driving through Oklahoma right now, deciding to just record the next episode here. So the first time I went to Alaska was in 2012. I'm trying to remember where I was working at the time. I think I was at McDonald's. I want to say it's been 8 years, so I'm not exactly sure. I don't remember. I do remember getting the call though. I got the call from Alan. I wasn't expecting it. I think it was around February, somewhere around there, that I got the first phone call. He called me up and he's like, "Hey, well, just so you know, I got an opportunity for you to go to Alaska if you're open for it." He told me straight up, if you already have a good job or anything like that, do not quit it to come to Alaska, because I'm already set somewhere, right? I told him it's okay, so I quit. Well, let me put it this way. He told me not to quit yet, right? Came around April, mid-April, somewhere around my birthday. I get a call from him again saying, "Hey, well, giving you a last chance call. You said yes last time. Are you still in or are you out?" I don't even think I let him finish that sentence. I'm like, "Hey, I'm in, man. Like, I'm going for it." He's like, "All right, well, we got to find a way to get you up here to Washington." And that year, the girl I was dating, I told her I was going, right? That I wanted to go, and it wasn't for sure until that second call. And when I received that second call, I told her she did not like the idea of me leaving her for 2 months completely across the country. And it was like, why? She didn't really like it, but I still went, right? She was fine. It's okay. So I was really freaking excited. I couldn't believe it. Like I said on the last episode, my dad had gone a few times and told me stories, so I was super freaking excited to finally get to go. So I pack, I get everything ready, right? It's about that day that I have to leave. And I'm flying out of Victoria, Texas. Of all places. Of all places. So my parents, they drive me to a little rinky-dink airport there in Victoria, Texas. Sorry. I don't remember what the layover flights were, but finally I get to Washington, they pick me up, and I'm there for maybe a good 2 weeks. 2 weeks, yeah, around there, 2 weeks. To prepare for anything extra, right? So, or any paperwork that I have to do, so I have to be there a few minutes early, sorry, not a few minutes, a few days, a minimum, at least a week early. Which was fine, so I got to, be there, visit some people I hadn't seen in a long time, got to go travel around. It was pretty fun. The most memorable thing, though, from the beginning of the whole trip was when I finally got to Alaska, to Anchorage, Alaska. We ended up staying at a lady by the name of Nancy. I think it's Alan's sister-in-law, if I'm not mistaken. So she lives up there with her kids and everything. And it hadn't hit me of course the time changed, the time zone changed, right? But the whole dynamic of where the sun is in the sky the entire time. Let me put it this way. You guys, well, I mean, on the audio, you guys wouldn't be able to tell. So right now it's 9:20 a.m. Look outside. If it's around that time that you're listening to this, or any time of the day, like noon, 1 p.m., something like that, right? It was like that for the entirety of the 24 hours every day for a full freaking week. Okay, right? So, what do I mean by that? I was awake at 1 a.m. thinking it was 1 p.m. because that's what my body was thinking it was, because that's how bright it was outside. Yeah. I mean, I have pictures on my Facebook. The album, I believe, is titled Alaska 2012 or Alaska Trip 2012, something like that. We even went to the zoo while we were there that first year. It was pretty cool. So back to the whole time thing. It really messed with me. I already had insomnia. I already had trouble falling asleep. And then here I am in freaking Anchorage, Alaska in May or June or whatever, what have you, the date it was. And all day it looked like it was all day. Nothing changed. I was outside at 2 a.m. freaking building a fire and smoking a cigarette, because at that time I smoked cigarettes, on the phone with my girlfriend or a friend or anybody who was awake at that time. It was, I don't know. I can explain like I was trying to, but you can't really express it. Like you have to actually go through it to feel that difference. I don't, maybe some of you will be like, oh, that's not a big deal, but trust me, it kind of is. When you're trying to sleep and you're tired from traveling for hours and the sun doesn't change, like it's like the sun says it's going down, it touches the horizon, and it just skates on the horizon. It stays there, and it laughs at you saying, ha ha, gotcha. I'm not going down, man. Damn sun. But that was the biggest thing, right? While we were there, we went to do any last minute shopping, like clothing, freaking, what's it called, the beanies. I was wearing beanies like crazy at that time too. The scenery, the scenery in Anchorage is beautiful. You can see the mountains in the background. Some of them had snow. It was kind of cold. It was just perfect. The air, you can smell that mountain cold air. It was so fresh and brisk. And I do remember going to the zoo too. There's a whole album on my Facebook as well. I think it's titled Alaska Zoo or Zoo Trip in Alaska, something like that. So you can browse through those too. I saw a lot of cool animals there. The bald eagles. I got to hear I got to see the gray wolves, and they started howling in one of my videos. I think that one's up there too. It was a really cool experience. We did that within the first maybe 4 days of being there. The weather wasn't always too good, so we didn't get to do a lot. Plus, we didn't have our own vehicle. We had to rely on Nancy's vehicles to move around, which was fine. It's okay. I didn't really need to go anywhere anyways, right? Well, yeah, I mean, again, 2012, getting there, Alaska, Anchorage, beautiful. I can't wait to get there again. This time, however, the difference, because of the whole quarantine, once we get to Anchorage, we won't be able to get out of the airport to visit Nancy. We're not going to stay at Nancy's. Nothing. It's just straight flights for the most part, right? and it's fine. You know, it is. I do miss them. I would have liked to have seen them visit Anchorage again, do all that good stuff, fun stuff. Oh, actually, in Anchorage, we actually went to go get our fishing licenses for being able to go fishing there. So, I mean, I assume we'll still be able to do that while we get there, but I'm not sure. I don't know how it's going to work out. I'm pretty sure Alan has a plan or something. So yeah, back to 2012. The excitement meter on me, it was through the roof. I was traveling. I wish I had this GoPro in those times, because I mean, I would be able to show you guys what it was like. So we got everything done in Anchorage, loaded everything up, went to the airport, and from there, that's where the adventure pretty much began. And what I mean by that is, from there on out, I had absolutely no service on my cell phone freaking ever. No service, and that's where the wilderness was at. We left Anchorage, we touched down in a very, very tiny airport called King Salmon. The little town, I guess it's called King Salmon. I don't know how far it was away in driving distance, but you can't really drive from there. Actually, you cannot drive at all from there to Big Creek, which was our final destination. We stayed in King Salmon for maybe, I want to say, like 2 hours, figuring everything out, getting our next flight, what plane, the pilot, the luggage, all of that. And when you look at the album and the pictures on my Facebook, the plane that we took from Anchorage to King Salmon was like a Cessna, like, you know, a nice little size plane, probably held like, I don't remember, I think it was like 10 people, 12 people. The plane after that, the one we took from King Salmon to Big Creek, woo! That was a little guy. Let me put it this way. It only had enough room for the 4 of us, plus the pilot, and the luggage that we had to take. I mean, the pilot had a couple extra things to take for other people, but that was it, man. And we had quite a bit of things. We had 2 ice chests full of supplies. We had my carry-on stuff, my big ass luggage thing too, and 4 more other people's luggages. So it's like, it was a full plane. Now this little plane, it didn't go that high, and you felt every ounce of turbulence, every movement of turbulence. I think I put videos on there too, recording, and if you hear in the background above all the airplane noise is me yelling out like, oh shit, because like we're only about 700-800 feet up in the air, because these things, they don't need to go up that high, or we didn't need to go up that high period either, right? And every time I felt the bump, I was like, oh shit, oh crap. Like, I would hold on to the bottom of the chair because I had metal bars. So I would hold on to it like that was gonna save me, right? This little tiny ass tin can we're flying in. I'm already getting freaking anxiety attack just thinking about it. And that's what I mean by the adventure. That's where the adventure really began. Because from there, it was just no outside world contact. It was game on. Because about an hour, maybe hour and a half after leaving King Salmon, we landed in Big Creek, Alaska. And when I say landed, you're all thinking probably like an airport, tiny, small, maybe one runway. Like it wasn't King Salmon if you take a look at the pictures, because King Salmon was pretty much a one runway airport, if you want to put it that way. Same thing with the Victoria Airport. Tiny, tiny, tiny things. In Big Creek, we didn't land on no airstrip. There wasn't any pavement. There wasn't any lights. There wasn't an actual tower. There was just the pilot with his reading instruments, the wind, and the beach. Yeah, that's right. We landed on the beach. Luckily for us, it wasn't, you know, a bumpy beach like some places, like at the island, at South Padre. Anyways, so we landed in Big Creek, Alaska, on the beach, about a mile or two from the cabin. And this is where I leave it off at this episode. Next episode, I'll be talking a little bit more of what we did while I was there. Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned. And remember, Snapchat sees it first. After that, you know, everyone else gets to see it. But you know, if you don't have me on Snapchat, add me on Facebook, add me on Instagram, all that good stuff. The links, I share them and everything, so if you find me on one, you'll see me on the other. Alright guys, stay tuned.